So the anatomy of the stomach, I will tell you. So first of all, this is the part of the stomach. You can see here is the fundus and then body, cardia, pylorus and antrum. So there are the five parts of the stomach. As you know, body is the main part of the stomach. It is between upper and the lower part. And if you see the cardia is the first portion of the stomach, which is close to the esophagus, and fundus is the upper part of the stomach next to the cardia. Then comes to the body, and then if you come to the lower down, then there will be the antrum, the lowermost portion near the intestine, where the food is mixed with the gastric juice. And last part is the not the least is the pylorus, that is the last part of the stomach, which attacks valve to control emptying of stomach contents into the small intestine. So this is the general anatomy of the stomach. Now, first three parts of the stomach, this is the cardia, fundus and body, are sometimes called the proximal stomach. And some cells of this part of the stomach make acid and pepsin, a digestive enzyme, as you know in the previous classes, the parts of the gastric juice that helps to the digest juice. They also make a protein called the intrinsic factor, which is very important factor and that needs to absorb the vitamin B12. The lower two part of the stomach is the pylorus and antrum. These are called the distal stomach. The stomach has two curves which forms its inner and outer border. As you know, the inner border is lesser curvature and the outer border is the greater curvature. So this is the blood supply of the stomach. As you know, the left gastric artery, right gastric epiploic artery and the gastro, and the third one is the lowermost branch, you can say, just a minute, I will show you. This is the gastric epiploic artery, the branch of splenic artery, right gastric epiploic artery and left gastric artery. Blood supply of the proximal stomach also comes from the inferior phrenic and short gastric arteries. So these are the blood supply. Occasionally 50 to 20% of aberrant left hepatic artery arise from left gastric artery. Concern of the left gastric need to be divided. The extensive anastomosis is there between the arteries. In the most cases, there are 3 to 4 vessels to be ligated as long as the arcades between the curvature of not distributed. Now the venous drainage. These are the venous drainage: left and right gastric veins, right gastric epiploic veins and left gastric epiploic veins. This is the venous drainage. Lymphatic drainage is 4 zones: superior, suprapyloric, pancreaticoduodenal and inferior. All 4 drains into the celiac group of nodes into the thoracic duct. Gastric cancer drains into any of these groups. So to know the anatomy is a very important in cancer concern, because most of the cancer in any part of the stomach can involve these lymph nodes. So the anatomy of the lymphatic drainage and the lymph nodes all around the stomach is a very important to understand, because when you do the surgery, then you have to take out all these lymph nodes also. This is the innervation. It's not very important. Now histology. Stomach has a 5 layer. As you know, the innermost layer is the mucosa, and then submucosa, then muscular layer, and then subserosa, and then serosa. So these are the 5 layers. So when we remove the cancer, so we have to remove all these layers of that particular part of the stomach. So this is the mucosa, as I told you. The layers are very important in determining the stage, extent of the cancer, that is helping to determine person's prognosis. As a cancer grows from mucosa into the deeper layer, the stage become more advanced and the prognosis is not good. It means, suppose if cancer is limited on the innermost layer, that is mucosa, then it is a very early stage. But as tumor grows, then it gradually involves the outer part of the layers, submucosa to submucosa, muscular layer, and finally the serosa. So when it reaches to the serosa, then the stage increases and prognosis also become poor. Now, what are the predisposing factor of gastric carcinoma? You can say the etiological factor. We talk about the etiological factor and predisposing factor. So, pernicious anemia, as you know, this is anemia, and atrophic gastritis achlorhydria is a predisposing factor of the stomach cancer. Previous gastric resection, chronic peptic ulcer, smoking and alcohol. As you know, smoking is a very alcohol and smoking are the very dangerous thing which can cause any type of the cancer. And environmental, you know, the H. pylori infection, and which is 6 to 9 fold increase the risk of the cancer. Low socioeconomic status and nationality, it is more common in the Japan, and the diet prevention. Gastric blood group A is a more common gastric cancer, and blood group O is more common benign gastric ulcer. H and PCC means hereditary non-polyposis colon cancer. This is also a risk factor. So these are the etiological factor of gastric cancer. Now clinical presentation. Clinical presentation can present a very wide range. Sometimes it can present only just anemia. Just patient came to you कि डॉक्टर साहब weakness लग रही है. तो weakness क्यों लग रही है? आपने देखा तो there is a anemia. You examine, this is anemia, and sometimes poor absorption. It may lead to asthenia and anorexia. Patient कहेगा डॉक्टर साहब मुझे भूख भी नहीं लगती, मैं बहुत कमजोर हो गया हूँ और चक्कर से आते हैं. It means it is due to a gradual blood loss from stomach cancer. And then the recent onset of early satiety, मतलब पेशेंट ने खाना खाया और कहा थोड़ा ही सा मैं खाता हूँ मेरा पेट भर जाता है. And dyspepsia, epigastric discomfort. Specific symptom depending on the site of the tumor. कई बार कि कहाँ पर ट्यूमर है स्टमक में, पाइलोरस पे है कि एंट्रम पे है कि बॉडी पे है या गैस्ट्रोइसोफेजियल जंक्शन पे है, उस बेसिस पे भी सिम्टम डिपेंड करते हैं. ट्यूमर इन द पाइलोरिक रीजन may present with the gastric outlet obstruction, and tumor in the proximal region may present with the dysphagia and hematemesis, and from the body of the stomach may present only a mass on the abdomen. So there is a very wide variety of the clinical presentation. Metastatic disease may present with the jaundice and ascites. Suppose cancer बहुत एडवांस हो गया है तो it can present as a metastatic disease. तो metastatic disease can present, it can spread to the liver. तो liver में आपको ऊपर से liver को जब आप palpate करेंगे तो you may find a nodules. Sometimes it can involve to the common bile duct and all structures, so it can lead to obstructive jaundice. And sometimes, and in the later stage, it can also present a distension of abdomen due to ascites. So there are wide range of clinical presentation. Sign, if you examine the patient, you can find the patient is anemic. If you examine the eye, palpable, then you can find is a severe anemia. And then cachexia, patient weight loss. Epigastric mass, you can find a mass, epigastrium. And Blummer-Sheff secondaries is also present. Virchow nodes, you know the Virchow nodes is the supraclavicular node you can find over the left supraclavicular area, and Sister Mary Joseph nodule. It is the nodule just near the umbilicus. Krukenberg tumor you can find. You know what is Krukenberg tumor? When the cells drop from the stomach and drops over the pelvis, so you can find deposit over the pelvic structure. Irish node also. These signs are very important in PGME point of view also. You can find a question related to Virchow's node, Sister Joseph node, or Krukenberg tumor, and Irish node also. Morphology, the tumors are polypoidal type, is some outgrowth type, and ulcerative. There may be an ulcer, a cavating surface, and superficial spreading, and infiltrative. Infiltrative is Lionitis plastica, is a type of clinical presentation. It is also known as a leather bottle stomach. Is also very important thing. You can find a question in the PGME as well as during your viva. Pathological classification. Pathological classification is intestinal gastric carcinoma. It arises of intestinal metaplasia to form a polypoidal tumor or ulcer. Diffuse type, it infiltrates deeply into the stomach without forming a obvious mass lesion but spread widely in the gastric wall, it is known as Linitis plastica. And it has much worse prognosis. So Linitis plastica is a worse prognosis type cancer. And then the early cancer can be divided into early and late. Early is limited to the mucosa only, and it is a T1 stage when it is involved only mucosa and submucosa without involvement of lymph node. It is curable and more than 90% of chances of survival. Late case when it goes deep and involve the muscularis layer also. So it has 4 types. This is Borman's classification. Type 3 and type 4 are incurable. When it advances, then chances of cure is very less. So this is just a presentation. This is a polypoidal, and next is superficial, then superficial, flat, and different type, and depressing also. So these are also polypoidal. You can see an ulcer without clear margin, ulcer with clear margin, and diffuse type. Spread of gastric cancer. As you know, all cancer can spread by the 4 routes: direct spread, lymphatic spread, blood spread, and transperitoneal spread. Direct spread means when stomach is involves the adjacent structure. Adjacent structure means it goes to the muscularis serosa and adjacent organ like pancreas, colon, and liver. Blood, through blood it can usually metastasis to the liver, lungs, and bones and other structure. And lymphatic spreads through the lymph, it can spread to the adjoining draining lymph nodes. And transperitoneal spread, this is common anywhere in the peritoneal cavity: ascites and Krukman tumor, ovaries, Sister Joseph nodule, umbilicus. So there are 4 routes of spread of stomach cancer. Staging you can find in your book is the T1, T2, T3, T4. T1 is when it is involved only some mucosa, lamina propria. T2 muscularis layer and subserosa. T3 is serosa, and T4 when it perforates the serosa and involve the adjacent organ. Same lymph nodes: N1 epigastric node and N2 main arterial trunk node. Main arterial trunk means along the cystic artery, hepatic artery. Then when the nodes are along these arteries, then these are N2. M0 no metastasis, M1 is distal metastasis, lung or liver or bone. Investigation, what investigation you will do? Full routine blood counts, renal function test, liver function test, stool examination for early case for occult blood, X-ray chest, and tumor marker. CEA and CA 19.9 is the tumor marker for the GI malignancy. Specific, how can you confirm whether it is a cancer? If patient come to you having the pain in the epigastrium and the blood in the stool, and or sometimes it can present as a hematemesis also, so you just go for the upper GI endoscopy. So by endoscopy you can directly visualize the stomach ulcer, stomach growth, and you can take out the simultaneously the biopsy, and then CT and MRI and ultrasound. So these CT and MRI can provide you the detailed information about the spread of the stomach cancer, whether it is involved the adjacent organ, lymph node status, Krukenberg tumor, ascites, and all information you can get through the CT and MRI. And laparoscopy. Laparoscopy, when CT is normal and upper GI CT is normal, everything is normal, and you are fine, this is only a small growth. So just before surgery, you just do the laparoscopy to find out those lesions which are missed by the CT scan and MRI. You can find a less than 1 centimeter lesion, a deposit over the liver or the peritoneum. So before doing the routine surgery, you should go for the diagnostic laparoscopy. And one is the now latest investigation is the the PET CT is a very important investigation nowadays. So it can detect the early the metastasis also. So this is, and then when you get the biopsy, then biopsy will confirm whether it is malignant or it is a benign. You can see this is the endoscopic picture. You can see here is this is the stomach cancer. You can find a ulcer, polypoidal mass, superficial spreading, infiltrating Linitis plastica also. So these are some difference in the benign and the malignant. So this is just clinical picture. CT, MRI, I have already told you. Management. Now come to the management. When it is confirmed whether it is a malignant, then you have to go for the management. For management, depend upon the staging. So three types of management: the surgery, chemotherapy, and radiotherapy. And fourth type of management is just a palliative care, not do anything when tumor is very advanced. So, treatment, initial treatment, before going the surgery, you should first improve the nutrition of the patient because of cancer is a loss of appetite, loss of weight. So you have to correct, and sometimes it can present as a vomiting if gastric outlet obstruction. So you have to correct the fluid and electrolyte by giving IV methods. And anemia, if there is a present, you have to transfuse the blood also. Preoperative care. Preoperative staging is important because we don't want to subject the patient for radical surgery that can help him. Prognostic factor. Prognostic factors. Important factor influencing survival in the resectable gastric cancer. Depth of cancer invasion is also prognostic factor. If depth is more, then chances of survival is less. Presence and absence of lymph nodes. If lymph nodes are involved, then chances of survival is less. 5-year survival rate, if we discuss in all about, is a very good in Japan. You know the Japanese are very good in stomach cancer because stomach cancer is a more common in the Japan rather than other part of the world. So, disease R status. What is disease R status? It is the after the surgery, then it is a disease R status. Tumor status following resection. It is R0 when you have removed the surgery, when you have removed the tumor and no residual gross or microscopic disease left. Then it is R0. R1 when you have removed the tumor, but despite that some microscopic disease might left over there. R2 when gross residual disease is left behind. So long-term survival when there is a R0 resection. So resection, total resection is a very important when you are doing the surgery so beautifully that there is no residual disease left behind. So this is good prognosis. But when disease is left behind, there the chances of survival is less. And this is not a very important. And some is approaches. There are sometimes you can do the surgery when there is a very early lesion. You can take it out through the endoscopically and a small lesion less than 1 centimeter and limited to the mucosa, then you can take it through the endoscope also. But total gastrectomy is an important surgical procedure when the perform the lesion is the upper 1/3 proximal stomach. When proximal stomach, then you have to remove the total stomach and the esophagus should be anastomosed to the jejunum, then esophagojejunostomy. Distal subtotal gastrectomy means when the tumor involves the distal part of the stomach, means the pylorus and the antrum, then you have to remove that part only with a wide margin of 2 to 5 centimeter, and then rest of the stomach is anastomosed to the duodenum or to the jejunum. So this is the distal gastrectomy. Both procedures are usually done in case of carcinoma stomach, and along with you have to remove all the lymph nodes of the draining area, the celiac group of lymph nodes, epiploic lymph nodes, and all lymph nodes you have to taken out. Radical gastrectomy, remove the stomach, distal part of the esophagus, proximal part of the duodenum, and the greater and lesser omentum and lymph nodes. Esophagojejunostomy with the Roux-en-Y. So this is the actual procedure of gastric cancer when you do the radical gastrectomy. Radical word is used with the cancer. Any surgery in cancer when you are doing, then suppose is a mastectomy, there is a radical mastectomy, a radical colectomy, and a radical hysterectomy. So the radical word is used in case of cancer when you have to remove the growth of the cancer with the entire organ with a proper negative margin and with adjoining lymph nodes. Then word radical is used. Procedure of radical gastrectomy. This is not very important for you. This is a surgical steps how to take it out, and I will show you. This is the stomach is taken out, and you can see this is the duodenum. Edges of duodenums are stitched behind. You can see the pancreas here, pancreas, and then the further the same thing. This is the stomach. You can see here is the surgery, and here you can see. I will show you this. Just a minute. Hold on, please. Yeah. So this is the when you take it out the this is the duodenum, and stomach is taken out. This whole stomach is removed, and this part is now anastomosed with the this part. So you see, this is the duodenostomy. The esophagoduodenostomy is the esophagus, and this is the esophagus. You can see, and this is anastomosed with the jejunum. So jejunum is anastomosed, and here duodenostemy is the second procedure. So 2-3 anastomosis is usually done when this type of surgery is practiced. Subtotal gastrectomy, when you remove almost whole of the stomach. Subtotal. So this you can see here this whole stomach is removed. This part of the stomach is removed, and this only small part left behind. So this small part is anastomosed with the jejunum. So this is gastrojejunostomy. This is subtotal. This palliative gastrectomy. Palliative surgery. Suppose palliative surgery when there is a metastasis and there's no use of radical surgery, then what you do, you can just anastomose. Suppose if there is a growth and you are not able to take out this growth, due to this growth, suppose it is adhered to the pancreas, and if there is a metastasis, then there is a no use of removal of this growth. But because of complete obstruction, patient is completely vomiting. So to avoid this vomiting, you have to bypass this structure. You have to anastomose this part of the stomach to the jejunum. So you can see here jejunum is here, and jejunum is anastomosed here. So it is gastrojejunostomy, and the growth is left behind. So this is a palliative procedure so that the patient will not vomit after this procedure, and later on this growth, treatment of this growth you can do with the help of chemotherapy. So just prolong the life is not a curable thing. And this is the post-op orders and all that. Post-op complication is a very important to understand, because sometime after surgery there is a leakage from the duodenal stump, and sometimes secondary hemorrhage and nutritional deficiency in the long-term cases. So chemotherapy, when disease is spread all around and there is a no use of the surgery, then in this case, suppose there is a ascites, there is a liver metastasis, stage 4, then chemotherapy is the only answer. The chemotherapy usually use the epirubicin, cisplatin, 5-FU, and nowadays the docetaxel is also in the use, and oxaliplatin is also drug of use in this case. But response rate is not very high, it is only 40%. And post-operative radiation sometimes required, so it can decrease the post-operative recurrence. So thank you, students. So this is all about the stomach cancer in a nutshell. So if you want to ask some questions, you are welcome on my WhatsApp number. You can ask. So in the nutshell, you know the stomach cancer is a very dangerous cancer, and it is common in especially in the Japan, and the predisposing factor, as I told you, smoking, alcohol, pernicious anemia, achlorohydria, and these are the very common thing, and it is common in blood group A,